I am just a fish. Oh, sorry guys. My bad. I'm arch maxing today. But I had to turn on my server, so. My Arch server. Arch is my favorite distro. There are a few like Arch Linux. We need to go to DG's too, because today I have something for y'all. Hold on, also I need to pop out the chat. But I need to do it down there. Hold on 5 seconds. Also, Term. I need to install Terminator, but I haven't done that yet. External.
36M Chester, 0 Java 33N. Java has been a boon to the publishing industry. Rob Pike. 36M Chester, C++ 33N. How many C++ programmers does it take to change a light bulb? No, they just declared darkness as a global variable. FUSNA. 0M.
Sudo Pacman SYU. Archo. Arco Linux? I haven't tried Arco Linux, by the way. I need to try Arco Linux. They use FVWM3. It's one of those LARPer distros I heard. LARPstros? Sudo LARPman SYU. Building my beautiful, beautiful technologies. Technologia! Let me introduce you all to agent. And you might say, well, I don't want agents on my computer. But you're wrong. You want agents because it means you got devices. You want agents on your computer. And that's why I made this program. It gives me access to an array of agent class objects. How memory efficient, very memory efficient. I'm totally memory efficient. But that's the whole purpose of today's episode. I just wanted to tell you all that I have agents on my computer, and we use a function called get agents to get agents. But let me go log into my server through SSH. Bro, I was asleep and my computer woke me up to tell me blah blah blah. Linux, please log in at this time. You know sleepy. Log in at 12. No. My computer wants me to log in at 12. That's the SCP. That's SCP Foundation. Okay. Alright, we need a CD into DG's too then. Jester 2M. /main. Watch that. Main dot agent and main dot agent. This is how I'm going to use my agents. There we go. So if I do rockm info, that gives us a similar thing. It basically outputs all the same shit. So rockm info. Now if I cd dot and I cd into djesus2, I can do /main in here as well. It dumps all this shit, and then I can cd /djesus2. And it's pretty much the same thing, except you see we have 3 agents in this one. So the first agent is the Ryzen 5 550. The second agent is the 1030. Another 1030. They're not 1030s, that's just the GFX that they support. But what really matters is the ROCm info. It's more accurate than what I have and more in depth. But we'll be grabbing information from the system using HSA, since my binding works. Now there's some things I need to rework, like some of the callbacks are weird and integrated poorly, but that's because we didn't know how to do callbacks yet. And now we know how to do callbacks, where you just extern-c a function, and that's my callback. So here in this extern-c, there's a little bit of things you have to do with this to make it work. So we have collector data, which gets made here, right, and get agents. So get agents is what I'm using to call HSA iterate agents, and collector data, we basically make it exist. Then we give a pointer for the address of data. So that gives an address of data to void data. So it becomes a void basically, but the way we get it back is by casting it to collector pointer for data, which then we can make a collector that equals it called LData, and that's our pointer for collector pointer data. And then we use uint kernel support in this to get our kernel support. So we check that feature, which is HSA agent info t dot HSA agent info feature, and from there we get that. So that should return 1 if it supports a kernel, or 0 if it doesn't. And if it doesn't, I don't really care, because I just want the ones that are going to support kernel objects. And so then I take it through this. If kernel support and 1, which basically checks if the kernel is supported, because if it's 0, it won't work. Or if it's 2, it won't work. Or if it's something other than 1, because 1's the one that I have. So boom. Then we have L underscore data dot collected equals agent. Then we have L underscore data dot count plus plus. So what these are doing, because collector is a struct that contains both a counter and this. So every time you do a callback, if you had this as a local thing in the callback, you wouldn't be able to pass that back. So since we're taking a reference to the collector we're using, anyway, we can just increment its count, and as long as we have a count inside of it, we can take that count, use that to increment the actual array placement for our agent. And I set it to equal 16. I don't expect anybody to have more than 16 devices on one HSA. Now, if you have more than 16 devices on one HSA, it's pretty easy to just increment the number up to the amount of devices that you need. So that's fine. Or I might even add a compile time feature to where we can just say //to do make a compile time meta program or value. In fact, I might even write a compile script for it too, so that way if you wanted to have 32, you could, and then all you have to do is just use the compile script, and this would be a value that we would use at compile time. That's a thing you can do, actually. I really want to get into more of the meta programming side of things as well, because that would be interesting to explore. But pretty much, this is all you need to get the HSA agents into a struct array, or a class array. And so my class array contains this class. So this is, when we create this .agent, which we do in this one, get agents, or actually we do that in get agents. So if the array we pass, or if the collector we pass, we'll take from the collector that we pass each member of it, and then since they're all agent T's anyway, we'll literally just append them into we'll create an agent with mem, and then reappend it into our agents. And now if mem.handle does not equal cast uint 64 underscore t 0. So that means anything that's 0 does not get casted, or something like that. Actually, that's exactly what that means. So that's how you do that. Then we have dump agents, and that's just gonna be for each mem of agents, mem.dump. So that's what I'm writing now. And all it does is do agent.writeLN. So that's what we just saw. So that's cool. That's fun. We have agents.dump agents, and then we also need... So now, what am I going to do? So I want to actually get features of every portion of the agent, and I'm going to store it in a uint array. Now, the interesting thing that I wanted to try to do yesterday was to create an enumeration for this enum, or for this agent, and I think I want to do it module level enumeration, because I don't really want to have the enum class local. It will take up memory potentially. I don't think that's correct though. I think enums are compile time constants. Let me verify that, because that's what we need to do. We need to learn today. Need to learn if this is also, I do need to do a Codeberg release as well of the most recent binding. So let me go to my Codeberg. Alright, so we need to branch. I need to upload a file. Commit to the main branch, yeah. In binding. Or actually fix the function callback. In the binding. Okay, there we go. And then, of course, we need to select the files. It's just gonna be bind.hsa.d. Oh, maybe we also want to do the main.d. Open both of those. Main.d now features example code up to the up to iterating and getting agent info. To do colon fix other callbacks. That's pretty much it. We still need to verify like everything, but we're gonna do that as I go through and write a actual program that uses HSA binding. So commit changes. Beautifuls. This is all written in D-Lang, and it binds on HSA. So if you like D-Lang or want to get into D-Lang because of what I do, feel free to try out D-binding for HSA. As long as you have something that's HSA compatible, it will work. Let's see. We need to go ahead and check out, what was it again? Enum compile time, or let's see about enums. So I think enums are like, are they compile time or what? So That's like... Is enum delaying compile time? There was something that was. Oh, they only exist at compile time. Yeah, that's what I figured. Interesting. Yeah, so enums are like a compile time thing. So they don't exist in your final program. You might make an enum, and the only reason that you make an enum is because, boom, enum is awesome. And so if we have a enum that has, for example, let me open the binding, it will only be there at compile time anyway, so that's the real beauty of enum. We're not going to use the exact same thing as bind HSA, so this means it will compile potentially slower because it has to do these compile time things, but... So here's HSA agent info T. We're not going to copy this verbatim because it will cause problems. So we're going to take enum. We're going to make just one that's called agent underscore infos. And I did not want agent info feature. I just want agent underscore info. Sudo stopnikov. Alright, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to set up my binding. It's going to have to pretty much copy this, but not really. We'll just put name. We'll just simplify those and make a name equals 0. Actually, these are actually, those are commas. Oh my god. Vendor name. But we don't need those. I only want the ones that are going to be integer numbers. So the ones that are going to be integer numbers are going to be... and we should be able to pull up an example using my other main.d. This one has the example of what everything is, pretty much. You'll see that I've written some really shitty code here, but I just wanted to see what everything is and what it does, how we can get it to work. And then the real code is going in this one. This is the real code. But anyway, compile time is awesome, and I'm gonna really meta program this shit. So be prepared for me to create a whole new DSL language using meta programming specifically. It's gonna be awesome sauces. So these are car 64s, the first two. Everything else down to caches is uint. Caches is just an array of uints. So I guess we could just have 4 sections for that, but I'm not doing that. And also, I don't handle it correctly there. So and caches, I don't know. I don't think it returns that many values. But anyway, that's what the other main.d is doing when we run that one. So the first one, we have HSA agent info feature, which feature. And what does this get you? This gets you feature info equals 0. No, equals 2. It's got to equal the same value. And I also want to redo this because it needs to be in order as well. That's the other reason I'm making a new compile time enum thingamajig, which is awesome. Like compile time stuff now. I'm going full-blown meta programming. Next thing you know, I'm going to look like Mark Zuckerberg while I program. I'm going to look like an Android machine model. Wait. Oh, okay, machine model. Equals 3. I'm allergic to info profile. Alright, profile info. Rounding mode. 5. That's rounding mode, by the way. Why am I putting semicolons? These need to be commas. Somebody should have stopped me. I should have been stopped before I could even begin. So all I have to do is whenever I am like, yes, I need this specific value, I'll just be able to pass feature info, machine model, profile info, rounding mode to these. That's all I'll need. Now, since this is compile time, that's really important because you don't have these when you go to runtime. When you go to runtime, you have this instead. But that's fine. Because you're really not going to be messing around with these at compile or at runtime anyway. I don't think you're just going to be messing with the representation of this, which is 3, 4, 5. See, I always thought enums were lame, but actually, they're not. They're really cool. Profile default float rounding mode. It is now very early in the morning. Wowers. What was that one? Like, that's actually a good reference I need to look at. HSA info fast 16. Oh, profile rounding mode, and also we have default rounding mode. Continuing on, we have fast F16 operation. Oh, like F16. F16 fast underscore F16 underscore operation. Which value? 22, 24, 24, comma, colon. Oh, yeah, good. Next one, got 6, which is the wavefront size. Size maxing. Oh my god. Okay, we have wavefront size. We have a bind HSA.d. Work group max dimensions and work group max size. You know what? Why don't I just copy them? They're basically the same thing that I'm already doing anyway. I'm very stupid some of the time. I like to write code, but some people think that's a crime. Ugh. We just want to go down. Well, maybe we should put them in order, but it's an enum. It doesn't matter if they're in order, apparently. That's fine. So we need to create one of these for each of them, and so we'll use the agent info. What the problem is when you have a uint array like this, the only thing you get calling things like this is to literally be able to, like, what am I building? Ah, I'm writing a GPU thingy that does things on a GPU. I'm writing it in D-Lang. It's crazy. I actually got D-Lang to do GPU stuff without using GL. But I used the HSA stuff, so it only really works with AMD, but it also works with other vendors that support HSA. So I wrote my own HSA binding, and now I'm using my HSA binding to make some cool program. And then I'm going to try running a D-Lang kernel, which is even more experimental, because I don't think that's even possible, but I think that's definitely worth trying. It'd be insane to get it to work. D-Lang is such a good language, though. I like it. I could probably write it in C-Lang, or like, maybe if I really learned some C++, I could do that, but I use Arch, by the way, and using mouse coding is ironic. Damn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I offended you today. I just need to copy and paste the last section of each of these, so that way I can use some enums more effectively. And then we also need this one. Wait, why? Well, actually, let me explain a few things why I'm doing it this way. I mean, I could technically put this into there, but this has to be extern C, and I don't want to have two of these giant things in my code. And plus, since we're importing that as a module anyway, it doesn't even really get carried over. I have to use it like this. Or else it's like, what is HSA agent info feature T? Although it might just be that it, you know, enum agent info. Maybe I'm dumb for putting an enum. Would that be a dumb idea to enumerate this? That'd be terrible. Well, actually, we could use that for referencing it, though, like later on. Reference it with the enum. But no, you guys want to know why I like Arch Linux? You guys want to know my reason for liking Arch Linux, by the way? Just let me know, and I can show you all. Paste. I think we have one more. Nice. That will work. Let's see. I want to try putting... This is something I haven't tried, but enum with agent info. What an interesting associative array we've just produced. Only reason I want to try this is because I've never used an enum for a fucking associative array, but I guess we're going to use that. So that means we'll be calling agent info.feature T, or whatever the fuck. Awesome. That's going to be fun, because now whenever I go to assign the values, I have to iterate through enum. That's like, no, why would I do that? But maybe for referencing it makes sense to use these. Like, for example, but then, of course, we can't have the first two, because those are just identifiers for vendor. For example, where was it at? The name and the vendor. I'm not going to use the name or the vendor. We're just going to use what the ID is. I mean, you can get the name, which we do have the name. It would be cool to populate the name, but all I need is the agent IDs, and then we can cook. But this does give me a good idea what I need to write out for the things it needs to contain. So if 2 is feature info, that would be 1 is feature info. Let's start off there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hell, this is just change the numbers to the correct order. So when we put them in the array, they'll just be right. I actually don't think I'm going to use the enum as the associative array type. I think that's a dumb idea. We'll just use this to reference it later on. And I guess at that point, I don't know, we'll still need it as a module level enumeration. Nice. There we go. 23. Now, which one was the one that we couldn't use because it's, believe it's cache size? Do I have cache size in here? Let's go ahead and remove that one because that's an array. Cache size is something that I don't really need in there, so 19, at least not to my knowledge that I need it. I guess if we need it, we'll add a thing. Hunted by the IRS. Yo, what's good? Oh, we're writing code that uses my binding for the HSA runtime. Pretty cool, huh? So right now I have a placeholder in fetch data, but we need to create an for each of these, which is up to 22. So from 0 to... I fortraned myself. Oops. God damn it. I fortraned myself right there. I started at 1. This shouldn't take too long though. Even though we have to redo work for that. Do not fortran in the future, bro. Fortranning taught me that I like to write module or something. Implicit none. That's what I remember. Implicit none using ISO-C binding. Also Lua. I haven't done any Lua. I try to stay away from Lua because it's one of those languages where I'm like, I tried it once and I was like, yeah, I couldn't understand that when I was younger. But maybe I'll try it again because it does have great C interop. It's like it's an embedded language, right? You can like embed it really easy in C. So I think you could probably do the same with D. You just embed Lua into your D code. And there is a faster subset of Lua, I've heard. So that would be something I'd be interested in, but maybe writing my own embeds for it too. I don't really like using other people's bindings and things. I just like to write my own since it's not hard. All you need to do is copy and paste a C API and then just convert it to a D version so that way you have your interface. Like all this is literally the source code for their C example, I think, and it's called hsa.h. So I take hsa.h, convert it, and then things are very different though. You have to have a uint on each of these. Well, most of these. I think some aren't supposed to have it, but I ended up with those anyway. That was covered in previous episodes though, so I'm not gonna waste time on that. For each mem from 0 to 22, we're just gonna go with that since we know it's constant. Incredibly similar to C/C++, so making bindings is really easy for it. Yeah, it was so easy. Like I've never done a binding before. That was my first binding I've ever made, but I was like, damn. It actually is pretty easy to make bindings for it. So void fetch data is going to use for each mem from 0 to for each count. Sure. Do we have a count thing in here? I sure hope not, because anyway, I know you use count somewhere else, but count's just going to be a value. And I'm not going to use I because it's kind of like, did I already use I somewhere? I probably didn't, but I just looks kind of lame, and I like verbose, so we'll put count. It will go through all the way to 21, 0 to 21, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, it goes all the way through 22 values. Then we're going to use those values, pretty much just get the data for them. So that will be done by using an iterator, or getting the data. Which means we actually need to do we already have the agent, so we don't need to grab that because we already iterated through the agents. We just need to iterate through each of them's data. And to do that, you just gotta call the function getInfo, HSA agent getInfo. So we already have the agent. And then we're gonna go from, we're gonna take these, but these are wrong. Those are not the correct values. However, you can use standard traits enum members, enum.length, so you don't have to update 0 to 21 every time you want to add standard.traits. That's actually a good suggestion. I haven't really used traits ever. Let me read about it. Dealing standard.traits traits. Here we go. I've used traits on things that already exist, but I haven't made my own before. This will be a good thing to add to my skill set. Alright, so explicit contracts. Compile time something. I don't know. Standard.traits wraps most of these traits. For example, some compiles that can't be wrapped as is would. Why are you not using AI? Why would he? What, you just want to watch the AI generate it the whole time? See, that's the last resort, man. Last resort is to have AI generate the whole time. Underscore traits compiles obvious error false. I guess you could technically take a length. That's interesting. You could take a length of enum. Let's go. Standard.traits. Yo, what's up? What does this have in it as far as oh wow, many name traits, function traits. Let's see. Aggregate trait types, type constructors, type behaviors. What am I building? So I made a binding for HSA. I'm just writing a program that uses the HSA binding. It's a D-Link program, so I don't want to go too deep into it because every time somebody asks, I answered the question, and then like, boom, I'm so distracted at that point. Input of template input of T with in out qualifier added. Static assert is in out. Traits shared in out. T const. I don't know. I think I'm kind of confused, but let me see. Standard.traits enum members enum name. Let's go up. I think enum members is what I need to look at. Enum members. And enum enumerate type E may have duplicate values. Retrieves the members of an enumerated type. Template enumerated members. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. / being high level. To be honest, D being a GC language, I would think they could have enum.length or something like that. Slash being high level. I don't know. I mean, we know the length of it. I mean, you could technically declare length as like, if you had this as a type, like a struct, you could technically hold that as another value, but you wouldn't want to do that. This is fine though. Like I could just do 0 to 21, but then there's making it look pretty, which is the other way. Anyway, for now I'm just gonna leave it as is. It will work. Let's see. Brain cells rapidly leaving. Need more energy drinks. Where was I? I was gonna count up. Just need a var. Good enough though. Yeah, it will work. So we need to do HSA agent get info. We have the agent, which is agent. We just gotta, for each count from 0 to 21, we're gonna cast count to an enum, which is strange, but it will work. Because it will allow us to iterate the counts without going too far. Love how Activision leaves all their games in an unplayable state. Yeah, man. It's called the Hurricane Activision. They leave a trail of empty wallets everywhere they go. I love that. Oh shit. I love gaming. So we need to cast it to the agent T. No. What was the struct called? Agent info T. This is what we're casting to. So if we cast to this, it will be that value. The problem is 0 to 21, not all those values are mapped correctly. And so that's where we would need to have actual correct values. That's the problem. So because we want to skip values like, for example, 24, 23, well, 0, 1, 2. So if we go from 2, oh, we also can't start at 0 because the first two aren't good. Okay, now that I think about it, why the fuck doesn't D-Lang use enum as const expr slash static slash const? Why does D-Lang use? I don't even know. Well, I think if they just use it as a compile time thing, it's like your actual code will just have the number, but then all of this just gets used by the compiler. They have a lot of compile time stuff, but it's like templates are compile time things. It like decides at compile time what to use. Very interesting. I've written very few templates. I'm still very beginner at template, but template is okay. It's probably my favorite type, honestly. Favorite thing to use, template. What am I? So if I have to go through all these, I can't do which ones. There's see, that's the problem. We have to have a bunch of indexes that are correct. So I guess we would actually have to iterate through the members of the enumeration, which is kind of interesting. Unless we did an associative array. Or we just count the specific numbers that we need. Or reassign values to which ones to assign where. Or you know, make this less of a, but I can't change any of these. I'd have to go into the recompile HSA binding with the correct ones, and God only knows how much work that would be. So the ones we can't do are cache, 0 and 1. So 0, 1, and 18. So those ones have to be mapped. We could just map them with eval, but that'd be poorer for performance. But it would also be not memory efficient if I like stored this as an array or some kind to like remap the values to the correct ones. This doesn't map the values to the correct ones, but this will in the end be used for referencing the info data that we have, which is a static 22 length array of uints. And it just gets you some generic info like things that I can take that aren't the model and feature info, or the name and the other one. Or I could just literally map them to the correct values and then assign them to that. Okay, I got an idea. It's gonna work. We also need a value which is gonna be a uint pointer. Well, uint, just pass uint. So we need to pass a uint. Does it need to be a pointer? No, I think it just gets referenced by get info. We'll figure this out in a second, but it still needs to be HSA underscore info t, and then what's the other part? Then we'll redo the binding so it's correct. We'll use what I think you said was the iterating through them correctly, or what would probably help me with that. So I just got to redo these numbers. 4. No, it's 3, 4. Fuck. 3, 4. Rounding mode is 4? Or did I skip one? We had 2, 3, 4. Ah, here we go. 4. 23. The next one's 24. No, that one's 5. Then 24. Fuck. Then 24. Then 6. 7, 8. 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. All the way up to 22. Version major and version minor. Those need to be 22, 21, all the way to cache, which we skipped. 20, so we skipped 19. That's perfect. We skipped cache because that's got to be done differently. So you have to get cache in its own way. So that will, because cache takes a different type. So we can't just pass a uint for all of them. The first two take car arrays, and then the 19 takes a uint array, to my understanding. And we're going to pass data to this, the address of data. So there we go, that will be the reference. Save. Now, count needs to be the members of the enumeration. What's the extern C down there? This is a function callback, which has to be extern C. So pretty much we use this as a function callback inside of get agents. So, or where was it? Yes, it was get agents. So we would use get ID, and it has to be a pointer towards get ID. So, well, address, but it has to be C compatible. So extern C, and then I pass a struct to it, which is a declared here, the collector struct, which basically allows me to collect any number of agents. So when I run this, let's see, I should be able to run it here. I'm in the correct one. You see I can get 2 agents from this, so that's 2 different agents. And I'm creating class objects for each one because they're both different. And anytime you restart the runtime, the agent ID changes. However, what I'm gonna do is with this info, I'm gonna save it to a file, and then you can just reopen it. Would put at no GC on that since I've had dling GC leak into my C code before. Might just have horrible code though. All right, I'll try that out. I haven't really used these much. These are like, what are these called? Properties? Are these properties or what? I don't even remember. What is the at symbol? Actually, I think they are properties. Let's see. Oh, marker, property, attributes. Ah, that's it. Words were not in my brains. Yeah, this is something I've been thinking about. I need to learn. These ones. Not sure why it isn't colored. I'd expect no GC to be colored. I think that's how it's used too. I don't know. Never really mess with those too much. I've seen them places, but haven't really bothered with them. I know it just tells the compiler stuff about it. That's about it. Not to include GC in this function. Or maybe it tells the runtime something about it. Oh, that's a great question. We need to do a deep dive into attributes one of these days. The templates deep dive was well worthwhile. It taught me templates so we can write vectors. But I only learned what I need to know when I'm like, what do I need to do next to progress? How can I better myself? So for each count it gets that, and it will append data to a to this dot info. Info appends equals data. Should work. Now we just gotta figure out our count. At safe means the compiler disallows any operations. Oh, so it's compile time. Trusted? Yeah. Okay, that's pretty familiar. But interacts with unsafe API. Means the function is safe in high level code, but interacts with unsafe API. So, oh, like C, pure means it must allow mutating, yeah. Means no throwing exceptions. You know what I saw? I saw a meme from one of my friends. It made me really inspired to try something out. Let me see if I can find it. One of my friends sent me the meme. Comment maxing. Thank you. At scope. Meme. Where was it at? I could have swore it was in here. Oh wait, no, it was tech maxing. Catch and throw. This is what I want to do now with my life. I want to catch exception E and throw a new exception E. At live borrow checking. Return same as scope, but only returned by the function. Oh, interesting. Maybe we put catch exception E, throw new exception E, at no throw. The programming work rhymes, bro. That's what I want. Let's do some of that. Cook some of that up on a stream one of these days. When I'm not doing things that I think are more important, like GPU. GPU. Show me some code at NVIDIA Jensen. Show me your code. No joke, bro. Jensen needs to show me his code. That you can do extern D. Yeah, that really confuses me. Extern D. I saw that and I was like, why would I ever use this? I was like doing one of my episodes, I was like, so I'm gonna make this D dynamic library and I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna use extern D for it. Wait, why would I use extern D? And then I just spend the whole episode trying to figure out what the hell I'm using extern D for. Whole lot of getting nothing done for me usually. Well, I get like barely anything done. I've only seen it in C++. Oh, right. That one, it's for the name mangling stuff. For D to C++ name mangling. Which there's some cool things we could do. We should be able to... main. So this isn't a dump of all the objects in main. And you can see that. But we can also do... I believe there's -D to disassemble. So now you can look at all the assembly, bro. Check that shit out. This shit's so cool. When I learned this on stream, I was like, damn. Assembly. Bad. Wowies. Wowers. Memory module. Add. Like, I can't even tell you what half this shit does. It's magical. Anyway. This was a cool episode when we tried to do this to the GPU kernel I made and compiled. Very cool. Now, if we did O3, it'd be a lot less of these. Because optimization 3, obviously. Has 8 implementations. A simple function, can't even remember the name, has 8 implementations. What, the C++ one? Oh, you want to see my most proud work of all time? Wait, it didn't say anything. Are you K Serioso? That is so uncool.
36M Jester, 0 Java 33M. Whenever I write code in Java, I feel like I'm filling out endless forms in triplicate. Joe Marshall Action JRM. 36M Jester, 1C++ 33M. C++ has taught me one thing. This. Just because the system is consistent doesn't mean it's not the work of Satan. Andrew Plotkin.
Awesome.
0M.
This is the best thing. Oh, you already showed me Jester? Yeah, I forgot that. Sorry, I forgot who you are. My bad. Yeah, I can't remember people for that long. Let's see. We need to actually use the traits enum members. So let's import standard.traits. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T. We need to get rickrolled. Enumerated type E. E. The members are arranged in the same order as declared in E. The name of an enum can be followed by querying the compiler for the name of the identifier. Wowies. Wowers. Is this an example? Enum squirts. Enum members squirts. Yep. We're gonna use it like this, by the way. Squirts 1, 2, 3. But if we do... Oh, wait. Ah, that's good. Okay. I got an idea. Okay. Enum members. Semicolon. Enum Musk. Enumerate Musk. This is the future of SpaceX right there. Grockenheimer. Enum Musk. I have ruined Enum. Count. Now, count will end up being the actual member of Enum. So, Enum members. Enum. Oh, capital E? Are you sure it's E? Oh, I guess it is. Yeah, that makes sense. Enum members. I don't understand why they would do the case like this, but I guess why not? I guess somebody woke up and said, why not make the case like this? Thank you for catching that. Throw exception. E. Catch exception. E. Check my import. Import good. Enum members. Enum Musk. Which one is it? We're passing agent info. So for each count enum members agent info, pass it to uint data, and then agent.dump agents also needs to include actually, yeah, we'll just include for each mem.writeLn. Boom. That's the dump. That will get us all the info about the agents. And then also, that's gonna be writeLn. And then also the member of the enumeration. So for that, we just cast to our agent T. This is why we love dealing. Yes. Because for each is very simple. I. And then we cast I to our agent info. And then we take mem. Universal function call syntax for each. How beautiful. C++ if it was a good language. Yeah. C++ is undesirable. I actually want to try Java. Something makes me want to try Java for that retro vibe. That Sun Microsystems grind set. I might have been infected by the Sun Microsystems plague. I might become a Sunborg. Sun Microsystems Borg. Let's hope this works. I'm gonna just stop looking at it and went. So is this gonna give me count value? So if it returns this, then public static void main string args engraved onto brain. Your brain is at that point become hard drive disk with limited existence. Assert 0, not an enum member. So return I, which is the count. A generic function length in these finding a member E in an enumerated type E. You know what? Let's just test it. Fuck all the research. Just send it to the testing. Beep 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 beep.
36 in Chester.
Beep 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 beep
Plus is history repeating as tragedy. However, is history repeated as farce.
Ah. I know what I did wrong. I thought it was dynamic, but I was wrong. Oh, right. But we might need a counter now. I hope we don't need a counter. This will work. Without underscore traits is ugly. But I wish it was, it's good to know D-Lang has standard dot traits, but I wish it was easier to make your own without underscore traits, because underscore traits is ugly. I wonder if you could alias it. Have you tried that? I don't know. And any compiler inserted functions always suck. Yeah. Alright. Cannot call at node GC function. Bind HSA. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. No at GC off. At no throw. I try not to alias since it's bad practice. Oh, I didn't know that. Just remove no GC. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I forgot where I put it. Where is my no GC hiding at today? Oh, look at me go. Cooking on Vimalicious. Compile. Oh, yeah. Ooh. When it just works, it's awesome. But that didn't just work. It gave us zeros. That's good. I like that already. That's really good, by the way. Oh my god. That was good. That right there is what I'm looking for. Here's just something we can fix. And when I call for each mem of agents, mem of agent.dump, but yeah, we got it to failed successfully. Yeah, that's a fair point. Right, LN. Give me 2 new lines every time. Give me 4 new lines. Give me new lines out the wazoo. I want an entire terminal screen. /n/n/n/n. And then I just want to loop /n the entire time. Only the most useful data. Delimiter. In main? I don't know. Maybe it's an Arch Linux thing? I don't know. I just tried it one day and it worked and I was like, damn. Technically you can even instantiate classes like that, I'm pretty sure. Technically, I might be able to pass agents to get... I don't know, that's iffy. No, that's iffy. You only can do a dot if it returns a value. And then that value gets passed off. Or this gives the value to the other one. But that's... I don't know, maybe we could do agents dot and get agents. The compiler is interesting. I think the decompiler has some interesting stuff going on. Because Walter Bright was kind of a genius. I don't know if he still is, but... I don't know, I haven't done much research on that guy. I don't tend to research people. I research code. Alright, but why does it fail? So, that's the question now. Why does it fail? And I think the reason it fails has to do with the way I'm handling the I. So info of I equals data. I think that's part of it, but I also think that data doesn't return a value from here. Let me reference code that did return. So in extern C we have data. We pass data to that. Or we have kernel support, and we use kernel support again. So we can reference kernel support like that. So that makes sense. That we're referencing it properly in the other one. Or in this one. Passing data like this works. Data is null. No. Never initialize the value. Yes. Well, no, that doesn't matter. See, we pass kernel support as null as well, and then it gets value. The value happens in the reference. And that gets us two of the things. So this is a fine thing. You can do this in D. You don't have to initialize everything. The only things that really need to be initialized are like the for loop. That's a fine way of doing it. The problem comes from using this. And then whatever count is. Let's just get a right line of what those would be. Actually, let's do that in the other one so I don't screw up this one. This is a new workflow. Let's exploit it to our best. There we go. That's where I use it. My Vimming is going to disgust so many people. I'm so sorry. This is just a temporary thing. White line. White line. I, comma, count. I want to know what those are. Oh, it doesn't increment. It does not ever increment. Fantabulous. So it creates a bunch of zeros. Cast agent info 0. Great return values. Alright, so it doesn't return anything. Huh. Well, it should actually be. It doesn't execute the for each, though. But did it write the line? At least, because it should have written a line anytime it was running. We have our agent. It skips the right line for the other one. What? Let me vim it again. Right line with I, comma, and count. That's in the right one, right? Fetch data. Enum members, agent info. Let's get let's insert another one. I want to see what the actual things I'm working with are. Because we are getting enums as an array or some shit. Enum. Let's try some things. Oh wow, I just removed the letter E. Okay, never mind. I was gonna try copying and pasting, but that's a later task to learn. And then agent underscore info. ./main. And that got us what? Oh, here we go. Cast agent info. It gave us 19. That's fascinating. So it just gives you 19. Cast agent info 19. Okay, so there is a couple rights. It does the first 2 iterations, and then it does another 2 iterations. And at the other, cast agent info 19 is 0. Oh, okay, so the right line is backwards. Okay, here, let's go ahead and try switching it around. Okay, so data, info of I, so let's change that to count. Alright, now, array index of 23 is out of bounds for, okay, so that's the value. Cool. So we're passing the count, or the actual value, that way. That's the value. I isn't an iterator. That's the problem. Okay. Oops, wrong one. So the actual problem is it has no iterator. I is not an iterator in this case. It's the other half of enum value. So that's a fun thing. That means we'll just have to initialize a iterator externally. Just give it like a ubyte. ITER. I like ITER, by the way. They build fusion reactors. Get my forward trans going. Kukuronioff. Good. ++ ITER. Now, SCP that over. Where is it at? Where the fuck is it at? Where's it hiding? I know, imposter sus. What the susity? God damn. Ah, I have found it. Insert. Let's delete that and make it a new line character. Not a whatever the hell that was. String, not just a /n. Invalid token. Your tokenizer is good. Okay, so that didn't do anything at all. They're all still 0. Let's see if the cast is correct. I finally meet somebody that does ++ variable instead of variable. It depends. I do variable ++ in the enum, and I do ++ variable, or no, in the for loop, and I do variable, or I do sorry. I do variable ++ in the for loops, and then I do ++ in the other stuff. Why are we using count here? Let's not use count there. Let's use iter. Well, no, the count's the one we need. Count is the one I need. Oh, but we tried I. Yeah, we tried I. Well, maybe if we made it an associative array with the enums, enum musk on it. No enum musk. Cast. Oh, let's go into the other one and write what the count is again, because I couldn't. Let me vim that in here. Vim my debugging. My debugging session conducted with Vim. Let me just comment out the other shit. Vim main.d. Let's comment out my other shit. I just want to see what it's doing. Escape Shift ZZ. Wowie. LDC2. Oh wow, it's 4 AM. That was fast. /main. Why would you not write the fucking lines? What? It doesn't even write line. What? Wowie. So when I call fetch data, what's it doing? I don't call fetch data. Let's call fetch data then and see what it's doing now. Because now I'm confused. Of course it's not gonna work if you don't call the function. Wow. Hopefully it's the function name too. The logic eludes me now. The logic is elusive. Property fetch data for agents of type main.agent. Huh? Huh? Pseudo what? Pseudo what? Fuck. FETCH. Fetch data. You sure there's no such thing? I see it right there. Unless I misspelled it. FETCH. __ DAT. Okay, I see both are correct. But it's the agents array. So I assume it's probably just that I put the wrong thing. Actually, we might want to do that as a template that takes reference agents. And then the thing it does is it specifies what the call is going to be. So that'd be just passing it as a pointer to a function. Yeah, that's an idea I think I'm going to do. But agents, for now, insert. I said insert 1. Alright, there we go. That works now. And it should have gotten us a bunch of these. Feature info 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that's the actual count, so we don't need an external iterator. However, these are the actual names, not the values, which we need the value. So that doesn't work. But I guess how do you get the value from these now? Why even have fetch? Didn't even call the function. Why even have fetch data as a method? I don't know. I like keeping things organized. I think they should go in there. I don't know. I don't know much about object-oriented programming. It's like the worst thing ever invented, but at the same time, it makes things clean. Since pretty much all the data is related to the functions inside of the class. But I don't know. Do you do it differently or what? Or does this just mean that each class has to have a function called fetch data of its own? And then oh, maybe for inheritance, that's how that works. You just have one that everything inherits from it, but then the functions are slightly different from a modular perspective. I don't understand. Object-oriented programming, I just think it's the best thing ever to be erased. Yeah, I think object-oriented programming should be destroyed. It's good but bad. We should do a template here though. And so the template portion. Wait, why would I do a template? Dump agents. Also, honestly, we might just pull out that. And why is this? If we want organization. Also, inheritance just sucks. I'd rather die. Yeah, I've never used inheritance. There's no real point in using anything with classes. Unless you're trying to keep things, like, organized. But then, I guess, maybe not. Because that's, like... I don't know. Memory. Alright, so here we have get agents. That's, like, separate. I'm just gonna put that there. Stuff. So, do that. I don't want to break too much yet, so for now. I've tried using it, horrible. And Google even encourages their programmers to avoid it entirely. Yeah, I don't know what it's for. Like, I feel like it's just some weird shit that some people thought was a good idea. It's really that. OpenAI, Tesla, and other companies avoid using it as well. Yeah. Like, what even is the point of it? I don't know. I'm just using it for my beautiful struct class. I could use my class as a struct, and then it makes sense, right? But then I'd have to change the whole code. But I don't know. Classes are fun to inherit things, but it makes that really shitty chicken and egg problems. The point is, it's sharp. Yeah, and I like to call my functions with a dot between them. But I could just do that using universal function call syntax. C sharp? I guess C sharp. I don't know. J sharp? So we discovered that if you have I is count. So I is good. We don't need an iterator. But we might need a... value for each of them. Count. So we're gonna pass count to there. We're just gonna get rid of iter now. Goodbye iter. No longer needed. Now we need to do right, void agents. Where's that at? Dump agents. C++ minus. Exactly, C sharp. C sharp sharp. C hashtag hashtag. So like, you mean C8? C8 plus? You know what we need? We need C times 8. No, we need we need something new. We need C divided. We need D divide. Actually, we need A divide. Well, actually, you know what I want a colon colon. That's why I use D-lang, not too sharp. There's already C minus. Yeah, I've seen C minus minus. We've covered it. Not really like covered it. Anyway, I'm just gonna hope that if I pass my count, that it'll be fine. And then of course we need to add a call in this. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a void pointer to a function. Function call, and that's gonna be. Why did I do it there? That was dumb of me. Cut, delete, and then paste it right back into this one. Dump agents and the function call, and then a void pointer for function call. So when we do function call, we must do something. Maybe if I do dot function call. Oh god. And now what are we at? We're at the slog. You should check out VLAN. It's really nice. Yeah, I did some episodes of VLAN. It looks cool, but then I was like, I just haven't gotten back to it. It's really nice though. It has C transpiler and some other stuff. I think somebody did all of Doom to it. Let's try to undo the classification. I think the other good thing with classes is constructors, but you could get the same thing with a struct. I don't know. Actually, no. Put it back in there. In fact, I think dump agents just needs to become a function helper, maybe? I don't know. Oh god, what's next? Z-Lane? Z-Lane? No. We need to get into the colon languages. And that's why I want to make C colon. And if nobody stops me, I'm gonna make C colon for my GPU OS that I write. It's gonna be the scripting language. You're gonna use C colon. Every line has to start with C colon and end with colon C. Every block must do the same thing. Every scope is a C colon and a colon C at the end. So it's really simple syntax. You just have to remember colon C C, C colon C. And each function is just gonna include a colon afterwards. And so you can do multiple colons to like literally just connect a bunch of functions together into a massive one-liner. Qlang? That a thing? Should get around to working on Vanta, my own language. I hope it has CABI so I can bind with it. Lol. Please explodey my Cody. Not a valid. Fucking brilliante. I forgot to change that. Lol. Right LM. My car. I don't even want to vin it right now. I'm gonna be honest with you all. Fuck! NVIDIA. I don't know. Okay, cool. Too few arguments. Expected 2, got 1. Okay, so the function call. I guess wouldn't the function call also just be yeah, you pass the function call too, right? So get agents. Agents.dump agents, and it expects another one, which is the function call for agent dot dump. This is a bad idea. It should be called Fishlang or FIlang. Adivin. Graphics card company called Adivin. Yeah, if you do that, let me know and I can make the videos for you. Just send me a free one. I never see you use Git. Do you use it at all? I use Codeberg. I don't use Git. I use Codeberg. That's where I release all of my projects. Would you like to see my Codeberg? I showed it off earlier, by the way. Also, I wouldn't know how to use Git anyway. I haven't ever worked with that. Awesome sauce. How many errors? Many. Oh wait. No property. Function call. Of course. Yeah, maybe I should undo all this hard work I just did. But this would be amazing, because then I can pass a function to it. See, the thing is that I gotta put it like this. Function underscore call, and then you can't do the reverse mem, so it's a void pointer. We'll use the address, I think. Do you use AI code? No, I avoid it. I avoid AI code. I don't know. Ugh. Found ampersand instead of a statement. Fuck. I don't know how to use my pointers though. Wowie. We'll keep bouncing it against the wall until it eventually cracks. I think I'm gonna pursue this as the goal. Get function pointers to work on this one. Expected void pointer. What? Maybe I have to cast it to a function. Actually, let's double back on that one. That was a bad idea. Is it a Breaking Bad reference? There's not an ounce of Claude in his stream. Damn, this was such a good idea, because then we would just be able to pull each of them. Or we could just write a for each mem of agents. It'd be cool to reference them with a function call and just pass whatever function I need off, but that's not the case. We're no longer doing that. That's it's called lame-o mode. And I don't know why I'd have a function that just does one thing anyway. We could also just call the function and use eval, but that's lame too. Why would you use eval if you could just be like, the function is this? Or we could use metaprogramming so at compile time it knows what to use. But there's a lot of options, I don't know. I don't really care enough to explore the options really. I just want to get this to the point where we get the fetch data to work. So, oh, you mean, that's a later problem. Damn. Function name here. Wait a second. Oh. Pointer function name. I could figure it out later though. I don't know. Do I really? I want to work on. Let's work on fetch data, getting it to work. Let's not worry about the other problems that we have. That will be. I'll just mark it as to do, or not to be done. // to do make use function pointer. Hello world equals print. Yo, I've stumbled across this beautiful stream, Mr. Gentleman. Hello. Sorry for my cringe. It's okay. I'm a cringe maxer too. Check out my background. There you go. Cringe maxing, by the way. Oh, it just compiles. Let's see. Beautiful. What? So, curious. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we got that to compile. Here is one better. I use Arch by the way, and I code by the way, so I say I use Arch by the way. Yeah, by the way, I said that. By the way, I have said that before. By the way, by the way. By the way, guys, we have to by the way this, by the way that, and then other by the way. There's I use Arch by the way programming language. I hope it has LLVM backend. I'm so pussy. I'm a pussy, so I use Omarchi. What is Omarchi? Is genuine ass? What am I coding? A binding for HSA runtime. If you don't know what HSA runtime it is for heterogeneous system stuff, like AMD GPU support. Very interesting. Pre-configured Hyperland Arch setup. Yeah, I did my whole desktop myself, including well, setting it up. I just put the window manager, FVWM3, got some other stuff. Linux, like Linux LARPing for code. Yeah. Let me actually do some stuff. What's the crown beside my name? It means you're a winner. Means that you've somehow, I don't understand. I guess it just means that you've commented more, but I feel like, I don't know. So I guess the YouTube algorithm decided you've posted more comments than hunted by the IRS. But I don't know how that makes any sense. I'm distracted though. Semicolon. Oh, also, I want to get the cast HSA count as well. But let's do that on a separate line. You know what it did? It didn't do any of the stuff because I didn't call fetch data for any of the agents. Get agents, and then agent 0 get he's been here for 5 minutes. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. He's cheating. He's a dream speedrunner right there. Dream speedrun technique. He edited the YouTube source code. Agents dot what was the function called again? Ah, goddamn, I can't even remember the fetch underscore data. Grab your data from the rock M. Good job. Good job. I think if a function is void, you don't have to declare the thingus on the end. Wow, it just compiled. That's beautiful. That's what I like to see. Index 0 is out of bounds for array length of 0. What do you mean it's out of bounds for array length? Huh? Pseudo what? Oh, have we just not made agents? Oh, I'm very stupid. No wonder it didn't work. Lol. I am a very dumb guy some of the time. Is your OPSEC 100? Pseudo yes. Very important question. Yes. Thank you, man. My OPSEC is actually 200, by the way. Alright, let's send SCP. I wonder if I could mod SCP game. That'd be actually cool. I bet it uses C and C++. Ah, here we go. Okay. So I see where we have I and the other thing. 19 extensions. Segmentation fault. Core dumped. /main. Expected 0 feature info. 1 machine model. 2. Okay, those are the things we're looking for. Casting it to those was correct. So the iterator is I, not count, by the way. Segmentation fault happened after did we get through extensions twice? Happens at extensions though. I hope we got through extensions twice. It's like the first one, isn't it? Like one of the first ones? Oh. Info node. 17 in its device. So that's actually good. Sudo install OPSEC. I just aced my cybersecurity finals and got a 4.0 GPA. Guys, what is OPSEC? System D, network D is OPSEC. Alright, the fetch data function needs to, or fetch data method needs to use I, not count. Because I comes first. But this should be the correct value. I'm guessing when we do count, I guess, operational security. Sudo yes. Now we have this. Good. The next tasks should be pretty simple. Info I equals data. That's good. Yeah, that'd be. Do we have info in here? Oh yeah, it's the fucking. This. Okay. I guess it might exceed the value of info. Because how many do we have? We have 22 of those. If we use info of I, it will hit the 22 value. So we can't do that. We have to do info of a different iterator, potentially. And it can't be count, because that'd be like, you'd have to have a associative array, I guess. Or we do the associative array thing, but then we'll have to use enum members get agent info every time. We only want to do that because I want to take these and use only the ones I've selected for the thing. So let's not do that. Let's actually just create another iterator, since it'll be simpler anyway. Iter. We'll bring back iter from the grave. Should put bind HSA in the phobos dir. It's not ready yet, so it's nowhere near ready. It needs to be tested. Like the function callbacks, a lot of them I wrote. I need to fix them. For example, ones at the bottom. There's hella function callbacks like this, and I was doing them wrong. So I learned that yesterday, how to do the function callbacks correctly. But we need to fix those for that to work. And when I mean we, I mean mostly me, but I'll get to that when I get to it. And then it's gonna take a while, probably. Also, global namespace. Where global namespace at? Oh, in bind HSA. I changed that yesterday. Extern C. Yeah. The reason I changed this is because I wanted to try out getting enum to work using HSA status D, but since it's imported, yeah. Since it's imported, you can't really... Don't pollute. We'll work on it as I go through it, I guess. What is the purposes of this code, though? Let me show you an example. CD D Jesus. And then /main. It can grab AMD GPU devices, as well as AMD CPUs that have HSA support. Well, it gives you a kernel support, and it also determines if the device has HSA support as well, just by grabbing it. Give you a type, for example, CPU, which I guess is the vendor ID, not AMD, but then these ones are AMD. Why? Why AMD? Why did you do this to us? And then GFX 1030. Why? But you can tell it's a graphics card that has GFX 1030. So ideally, what it allows you to do is use HSA code, which is like, there's a HSAIL is what it's called, which is HSA intermediate language. And it's lets you grab the info. It does more than that, because you can effectively compile a GPU kernel, then dispatch that and have it done on the GPU. So it's a way of doing computational workloads with HSA and using the HCell IL. So HSA IL is like kind of like an assembly language almost, and you can basically write that and then have a finalizer do it, or you can do a compiled version where you pre-compile code to HSAIL and then send it off and dispatch it that way, which those have two different implications as far as performance goes. Import HSA equals bind, and it would fix it, and would fix temporarily. You low-key could just import HSA equals bind HSA. I'm confused. Confuse it? Import HSA equals bind HSA? I need more explanation. So you're saying import HSA equals bind underscore HSA? But I don't know, because I have to declare like enums differently. Import HSA equals bind HSA puts everything in bind HSA in a namespace. Ah. So you can do HSA.HSA something function, or HSA.value or class. Whoa, this is interesting. Honestly, I could just write extern functions as I go. I don't know. I'll make it have selective bindings and things later. We'll add that as a // to do. I'm trying to focus on the writing something with it. Make selective. Like everything you need for modules, like maybe you only need to fetch one thing. But also, if you make a selective binding, what if you don't cover it perfectly? I don't know. How you make things selective, you just make it so you can import one thing at a time? Or, I don't know, maybe just one of these all the way to the bottom, and then go boom, then just tab it all up in there. I don't even use the HSA what are they called? Enums correctly, I don't think, in some cases. Because you have to like write out HSA kernel.dispatch packet T and then write out the header or like what you want from it. Or that's a struct. But like with HSA packet header T right here, type, you'd have to do that and then you'd have to write out which one you specifically want, which is like really shitty. Because I don't think that's how I want to enumerate, but it is what it is, doing it like this. But I'll figure out more as I go, as always. So, where are we at? Right ln. What did we just get with the last execution? Let's figure it out. Core dumped. Ah, right. So the I value and the enum, and then we also got our agent info size. Also, where is the write ln for that? Write lines. Dot fetch data. Dot dump agents. Cast agent info I. But if you're casting it to the agent info I, that won't work either. You'd have to use the agent's names. Very interesting. For now, just do info.writeln. That'll make it so it doesn't cause any problems. That might have been part of the issue. Writeln. Actually, so we just want to see if there's a value in there. If there's a value, we've successfully completed the task, which is to assign the values. What was the other issue? Did we fix the issues? We have I. We have a external iterator. We need the ++ iter. And then that should be good, I think. Alright, I'm gonna head out. See ya, man. Nice meeting you. You too. Alright, let's go ahead and ldc2 /main. Core dumped. Ooh, I like this. Core dumped. Pseudo good. Yes, I like core dumped. Damn, core dumped. .main. What was I again? Segmentation fault. Core dumped. Wowie. Nice. That was a better result. Maybe it does need the maybe it does need count after all. And probably also doesn't need I to be cast to that, but sure, why not? Let's just give cast again. Cast. How many casts? You know what I had a question about yesterday? How many .so files could you chain together before interesting stuff happens? It's a weird question, but now I just had another one for my top tier questions of all time. How many casts can you cast before you envelop cast with cast or some shit? I don't know. Some fucking legendary casting right there. How many casts can you cast before you are a wizard? Like, what if I cast from another thing and cast from another thing and then I cast, you know, like net cast nesting? Is it just me or is DUB like really good? I'd say it is almost as good as cargo. I mean, DUB is really good, but I don't use it because I don't like DUB. Personally, I don't like using DUB because then I have to use somebody else's stuff for it, and then also I like to manage my own code. I don't know. DUB is nice, but a lot of times, a lot of the stuff on there, pretty outdated, some of it. And I like to be writing cutting edge code, But then again, it's all just, you know, linking with other stuff at that point. Most of that stuff's for bindings anyway. That's most of the time I would go to that for. Yes, we need to LDC2. Oh? LDC2 stuck? Question mark? That was weird. Nice. Let's see. Went to 19. Hit a segmentation fault. And the question is, why did it hit the segmentation fault? You know what we could actually be doing that would actually work? You know you can do a I personally just prefer make files. I want to make dmake. That's what I want to make. Something I'll make eventually is dmake. There's a beautiful thing which completely eliminates our need for enum members get info, and I'll explain it very, very quickly. So iter, we still need an I. However, I and count no longer need those. In fact, we can create a enum that exists for the sole purpose of one thing and one thing only. That is to hold the values. You are a bot. Ha ha ha. You are a bot. But D-Langs can actually hold a single value, which is interesting. You should check out Antelope. It's my GNU make replacement in D-Lang. Ooh. That's interesting. Damn, that's actually gotta be like super interesting to like replace tools by like writing them. I think that's like one of the things I want to get into. Can parse regular GNU make files out of the box. For example, musil and DWM. Defines a new type of X, which has those values. So an enum can be used to hold a value, right? So like if I have enum A is a oh wait, what's this? Void. So they can put a void on there? This is a nameless one. Oh yeah, Antelope can compile GNU make itself. Auto tools generated. This is actually cool. This is peak right here. That's peak D-Lang programming. I bet I can define enum X as an array. So enum colon and then an array. However, we could basically just store an array in an enum, and then wherever the array is needed, it just puts an array there. Which is kind of cursed. But aren't our constants compile time constants? Would that be a thing? So like, couldn't you just do D-Lang constant? Or D-Lang D-Lang constants. Compile time only. Compile time. I wonder if we just use a constant for this. Oh, thanks. Thanks, AI. Defining them. It's trying to be like C++ version of make. Its own superset of GNU make. You know what we need? We need we need to rewrite GNU compiler collection in D-Lang. I think it's actually a really great idea. Need to get more people involved. we could write a new compiler for Jody Brucon's Jovito code. Honestly. Write Jovito code. Jofito. Jody Brucon, by the way. Shout out to Jody Brucon. Jofito code compiler. Whatever the hell it was. So far, there's barely anything antelope specific. Alright, so we got info iter equals data. What am I doing? So we need to redo the for each, pretty much. But everything else should be the same. So we still need data. And we still need to assign a value to data. But we only need for each I. And then we need a constant. And the constant can be literally just a compile time constant that is stored within fetch data. Actually, we could just do a constant with my enum. Surely this will be fine. Const, or do we want that inside of each array? Inside each agent? Yeah, put it in the agent, sure. Const tingus indices, or and it's also not, that's not the type, it's going to be a uint array. So it needs a uint array of values. Const uint array, not dynamic, it's going to be 22. Contains all the values in my enum. That includes, to include 2, 3, 4, 5, 23, 24, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I like a nice long compile time, so I'm trying to compile max today. I actually like slow compile times. Maybe I should be a C++ developer. Oh, never mind. That thought left my mind as soon as I thought of C++. C++ dev, aka I watch paint dry. Lol. Hey guys, I'm a C++ dev, and I watch paint dry. Wowers. Am I right? It's totally wowers. This looks like something I shouldn't make look like a thing that I shouldn't make it look like. How is that 22 when there's appears to be 24 values, but it is 22. Swear to that. Ah, you know what it is? It's that this one has 3, which means that this one has to have 2 more, and then this one's just this. But anyway, I think it looks better as a line. So we'll do that, and then we'll tab it. Boom. Make it 200 values, lol. No, there's only 22 that we need to collect. And those are the important ones anyway. So then, before we do that, we're going to take our info indices, and we'll use that for the for each. So, info underscore ind. So that gives us the increments that we need. And then we just have to cast the I of that. And then we store it on the array, which is info of I, but info of collects every value? No, we don't want that. IND. So this one has to become IND now. Info of I and equals data, which is the return from that, which is the best way to do it. Then this the enum here exists in case I want to enum some stuff. There we go. So I figured out my ultimate question in life. What is the number 42? Why does it matter? And it's not 2016. The number 42 doesn't matter. Pseudo what? What the fuck? What? Const enum. I love when things happen like this. It's so amazing. It really is. Insert, enter, and then right line. I like my 8 fucking indents on this. I, comma, IND, comma, 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 comma. Those are not the right values. What the fuck? What? 2, 3, 4, 5, 23, 24, 26, 7. 1024 is out of bounds for an array length of 22? What do you mean? What do you mean it's out of bounds for an array length of... What? So what's the return value for number 8? Is the return value URL if you want to see antelope colon parameters code. I love that. Thank you. Horrible code. Yes. I did just write some terrible code too. Oh my god. Oh. Was censored by YT? Yeah, I saw. Arco Masters, Arco Linux, LARP OS, LARPOS. So how did it end up with 1024? Git Spectoria. That dev. Coolioso. Alright. Info I write ln. How did I end up with like 24,000 though? I think it was something that returned from it. For the array length of 1024. How the hell does that happen? It just decides that what? It's 1024? libc start main. Index 124. So for each mem, we're doing it in a for each loop, right? Unexpected behavior with my for each loop. YT is rage baiting. In my for each loop, I have unexpected info of I has an array length of 1024. How does that happen? So let's look. It's 22. Has a 22. But are we passing I as a number, right? So I should be counting up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right, so 7. We've counted up 7 indexes. We've assigned the value 2 to 0, 3 to 1, 2 to, or 4 to 2, 5 to 3, 23 to 4, 24 to 5, 6 to 6, 7 to 7. The problem is now that it kept going past that and stopped writing the line. So why did it stop? This is a great question. I don't think this guy has the answer. Points to data. I don't think it's a problem with my array. I think I am sending this too fast, maybe? I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. That shouldn't be a problem. Cast HSA agent info T IND. So that would be like the number. So that's a constant UN, which is 22, not 1024. So I guess it stopped iterating after it hit like 22. Then what? Let's dot/main again. 1024 is out of bounds from array length of. So where does it get that from? Where? Main.d61. So main.d61 is where it's having issues. Oh my god! How the hell? Dump agents. Okay, so on 61. It hits that last part of the loop and it goes up and it does something weird. So it's doing something weird really deep under the hood that I can't see. Info of I equals data. Let's write the info as well. Ding 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 ding. What am I working on? GPU stuff. Very fun, right? HSA. Yes. I bound to the HSA library using dlang, so I'm going to test it out. 1002, 132, 0. Stops. Has an array length of 22. Also, I.writeLn. I want to see what that I value is and how it gets to 1024. Is there just a bunch of indexes there? Do I need to rehash that or some shit? I don't know if I need to hash that. I would hope not. Did I just send this over? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Which also gets us the kernel support and all that. Maybe it's what's returning. Like the return value could be out of the question. 6. So on the 6th iteration, it fails. What is 7 returning? Let's see the return on that. Return on number 7. Bind HSA. 7. Work group max dimension size. He's putting code in the bag because I told him to. Yeah. Default floating point modes. What did the others return though? Whenever we called those other programs that pulled the info. Here we go. Max work group size. It returns 1024. So is that a... What is that? What? Also, we skipped max dimensions. So, that's fun. Max dimensions, I think, is 6,000. Or no, we go through here and then we hit 32, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 32. It's the one after 32 that throws the problem. And it does count to 6. Index 1024. Something is confusing what the index is. Something writes to the address of index, potentially. I don't know. Like, something weird's going on. We get down to, like, the 32 one, which is 7 iterations in. So after 24, it fails on number 6. So 6 is the problem. Huh. Wave front size. But no, 23, 24, those are the floating point ones. 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, let's skip those ones. 2, 3, 4, 5, 23, 24, 6. Wave front size, which was like that big number. And then 7 is the 1024. Huh. What? Data. Are we just assigning it? That's the problem? Maybe assignment is the issue? But I don't think that should be the problem. Assignment should not be an issue with this. Let's see. So we put info of I in data. We could also do data.writeln. I want to see what data is. Yeah, that's a good idea. I know it's not going to tell me much. It's just going to tell me what the number was, but it should be returning 1024 on that last one. Sender over. Compiler. $32. That's after. Oh. So that gets appended there. Okay, that's correct. So that's assigned there, actually. But then 1024 becomes the index of I. So are we writing to the value iter somehow? And giving it the wrong index? Or is info ind returning something else? Maybe let's try it with a external counter. Let's limit it to 256 counts. Let's use ubyte counter. Let's call it TMP so I know how to remove it later. Don't need to initialize it. We can do that at runtime. We'll use TMP instead of I. I think it's a problem with trying to iterate through it with a for each loop, which if that's the case, this will become permanent. We'll remove I at that point. Although it makes more sense to keep ulong I in there. Maybe it's a problem with like something interesting going on. I don't know. This is something interesting. I don't know what this problem could possibly be. Probably something to do with the fact that we're interfacing with C, but I don't know. The C question. To see or not to see. To rust. Rust maxing. Wowie. Okay, good. Segmentation fault. That's expected. That works, but why doesn't... What is I? So I is an index of 1000. So I becomes a very interesting thing. After the first round, I becomes 1024. How did I become 1024? The next one, it's 1024. How did that happen? So I becomes 1024 out of nowhere, and then it dumps a core at the end. What? Figure out why I become index of becomes 1024 on 6 iteration. good. I think this will work. We don't need I anymore, but like that was weird. I think it sent back an array. Let's go ahead and look at the HSA documentation and find out what the send back for HSA enum would be. So they should have an array. So which one was it? It was actually just call AMD GPU or whatever the hell it is. Rock M info. Because this returns all kinds of information, as a matter of fact. So we have GFX 1030 ISA2. So there's two ISAs on this device, by the way. The ISA is the AMD GCN, AMD GHSA, or AMD HSA dash GFX 1030, which is the ISA for these. So that's interesting. Super proprietary information, by the way. Confirmed. Amogus Skibbity. Let's see. Wave front size 32. Wave front size. Wave front size per dimension. Huge. Mega. Where's the first occurrence? Cache info. Cache info is fine. So we hit the wavefront size. That is a three-dimensional thing. The wave group size, so wavefront size should be 32, and the wave group size is 1024. This is correct. So let's go ahead and /main again and see what it returned. 32, 61,000 bajillion, 1024. So is this? That's one of the dimension sizes. We also have 32 again. 128, 64, 1307. Is this also on the same indexes? This is weird. 01 and then a couple zeros at the end. Hits 18 and throws a segmentation fault. Just not understanding the library, I think, at this point. Those are fine. Anyway. Let's see. So I believe the value for 6 would be wavefront size. Then we have wavefront dimension, wave group max dimension, and wavefront max size. Then you have your grid sizes. And I think these aren't supposed to return a uint. I have a feeling they return uint array values. Which was like, in the other one, like 1,000 bajillion. Anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap it up for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys this weekend. Hopefully we'll be doing some stuff that's cool. I don't have anything planned right now, really. But hopefully I can make